do love the pattern. There's a little bit design over here. Indicators on the right, windscreen wiper on the left. And surprisingly, you are getting a hammer that's standard on this vehicle. Let me grab that. All right, we're here. 1, 2, 3. I'm actually quite happy with it. Hi guys, this is Jerry, welcome to the channel. This is the all-new Chery Tiggo 7 Super Hybrid available in the New Zealand market. Today we are going to have a quick look for the exterior, interior, and I'll show you how the vehicle drives overall. Whether this is the best value PHEV on the market, let's find out today. Now, first thing, let's look at the exterior. What is the Chery Tiggo 7? It is a medium-sized SUV on the market. It is just over 4.5 meters long, over 1.8 meters wide. Height is just smidge about 1.7 meters. You'll see the dimensions on the screen, by the way. The wheelbase stretch over 2.6 meters. So it's not really a huge car, but from the exterior, due to the styling, the car feels quite substantial on the market and on the road. In terms of pricing, the New Zealand spec starts from 42,990 plus ORC. This one we're driving today is the higher end of the vehicle. That's at 46,990 plus ORC. It is still a really good value for what the vehicle offers. Remember, it is a plug-in hybrid that will take you up to 93 kilometers on the NEDC cycle. Now, in terms of competitors, under 50K in the New Zealand market right now, you can get the Leapmotor C10 RE-EV at 49,990 retail price. Also the Mitsubishi Eclipse Cross at 44,990 starting price. But this one is a really good value package, and you can top up the fuel on the weekends drive, but you can also drive on pure EV at daily runs. Now, in terms of the exterior design package, let's quickly look at the front. At the front, we have LED daytime running lights with LED headlights at the front. They look alright, quite slim look at the front. Grille over here, it's quite chunky. It does look like all the other Chery Tiggos you can find on the market. Quite boxy shape around here. There's some sort of chrome finish and a lot of black patterns around it. Chery logo on the top. And over here, I do like this design over here. It's not really functional, everything is actually blocked, but the black sort of cover over here, that does give it a very nice, like sporty look in some way. But overall, it's not exciting design, just a family car in the end of the day. And then over here, we have 18-inch alloys. They look quite small for the size of the vehicle. Look, they're all right. Big chunky tires means it's going to be relatively comfortable on the road. Wheel arch, and underneath, it's all plastic panels. Over here, chrome side, chrome on the top, and silver roof rails on the top. And then just behind the C-pillar, we're going to get a small curve over here. Charging point is over here. We're going to talk about the charger soon. And then going to the back, this is the full running through tail lights. They are, of course, LED. I do love the pattern. There's a little bit design over here. Chery logo on the top. Tiggo 7 logo over here. Plug-in hybrid on the side. That's the exterior of the Chery Tiggo 7. What do you think about the design? Please let me know in the comments. Now let's talk about the charging. So this vehicle supports Type 2, standard AC charging, CCS, that's the fast DC charging, AC up to 7.4 kilowatts also, and DC up to about 40 kilowatts also. Not super fast, but no one's going to do DC charging every day on plug-in hybrids anyway. The battery on this vehicle is an LFP battery, so that's pretty good in terms of longevity and safety reasons. It is 18.4 kilowatt hour. That means 93 kilometers EV range for the NEDC. WLTP, I think somewhere around 80 would be safe. Now, in terms of the interior, this has the nice leather finish and the sunroof on the top. Since this is a higher spec, you got cooling and heating function at the front. Let's step inside. So there is no stop-start button on the Tiggo 7. What you want to do, foot on the brake, and the system is all on. You do get indicators on the right, windscreen wiper on the left. Now the steering shape looks identical to some Chery vehicles, also some Jaecoo vehicles or even Omoda vehicles in some way. Cruise control information on the left and volume button or menu button for the dashboard. Speaking of dashboard, that's 12.3 inch and also 12.3 inch over there. The dashboard looks crystal clear, it's no issue. You can read all your information, you can see most of the things. You are able to change some panels on the right, by the way. Overall, It's easy to use. There are some quick buttons over here to change the brightness and also change the volume for this unit. Funny enough, for the passengers to change the volume, you have to swipe down and adjust the volume over here. But for the driver, you can do it over here. You can also do it over there. Anyway, that's just what it is. There is no head-up display, and over here, that's the screen, 12.3 by the way. Over here, you can do your AC. Sorry, I swapped up. Click over here, that's the main screen. You can do connections and also vehicle settings over here. Click over here, that's all the apps. You get audio, new energy, where you can change the energy regeneration. You can see the energy flow. You can also do the power management. This vehicle also comes with the vehicle to load function as standard through the charging cable. Local settings allow you to set the vehicle, screens, sound, things like that. Vehicle settings allow you to set all the vehicles in terms of smart key, driving assistance, and all that things. Even ambient lighting that's available at night and only available for this higher trim over here. Overall, screen is easy to get used to. There's not much to really go into, and also the vehicle settings are fairly easy. It's not really hard to find whatever you want. Apple CarPlay, Android Auto are both wireless, by the way. And this is what the reverse camera looks like. And then on the top spec, you do get the 360 view, by the way. So they're all right, no issue at all. Underneath, these are the quick buttons for your air conditioning controls. They're not really physical buttons. They're just sensitive sort of function keys. Not easy to locate when you're driving on the motorway or things like that. But I guess you get used to it. And then underneath, we get the wireless charging pad, USB-A and Type-C charging. 2 cup holders are reasonable. Center console looks all right. Gear shifter, driving mode, and EV controls on the right as well. Underneath, good amount of storage, and surprisingly, you are getting a hammer that's standard on this vehicle. Ooh, let me grab that. There we go. That's the hammer for your glass in case you are actually in the water or in a dangerous situation. Anyway, center console is quite deep, so they are all right. Glove box is all right. It's no issue at all. Now, in terms of build quality, material on the top is really nice. Over here, really soft material as well. Only thing underneath, they are plastic, which is fine. Over here, even the paddings over here is soft, and all over here is also quite soft. On the top, they're all right, not too bad. So material quality inside of this vehicle definitely punches above its weight for its price point. Anyway, let's get to the back. So the front seat has been set to my driving position. I will show you what the second row looks like. So this is a good opening size. There's no issue at all. And door bins, plastic on the top, so not as premium as the front seats, but then you get nice sort of wrap around here. Seat base is quite long. Let's take a seat. So I'm about 178 centimeters tall. The seat has been set to my driving position. I've got good amount of legroom, okay amount of floor space. The floor is a little bit higher, so you do get a little bit angle on your knee room. No issue. Pocket over here, 2 air vents, 1 USB-A charging, and small pockets over there, cup holders over here. On the top, you also find a panoramic sunglass roof. That's pretty much it. Sitting at the back, feels okay. Not as spacious as something like the Haval H6 or BYD Sealion 6, but do remember this is a small car. Opening the tailgate, this is only a manual tailgate, even on the top spec. Somewhere around 400 to 450 liters boot volume. It's not really mentioned on the Chery brochure. Underneath, there's no more storage, of course. Parcel tray can be extended, seats can be dropped, 40-60 split. The back is reasonably long, reasonably high, but it's not really wide due to the wheel arch pumped on the top. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the rear cargo space. Now let's get this car on the road to see how it goes in terms of driving. All right, first thing, visibility. Side mirrors are okay, side gap is okay. Front bonnet is reasonably high, but you are going to get most of the information covered. On the side, they are right. The rear quarters are okay. The rear windscreen is on the slim side, but it's not too bad, let's say. Let's get it on the road, see how it goes. All right, we're on the road. Let's quickly go through the drivetrain on this vehicle. So the power numbers is 1.5 liter turbocharged petrol motor at the front, 4-cylinder of course. It can take 91 petrol, by the way. The petrol motor produces 105 kilowatts of power, 215 Newton meters of torque. Now, it comes with the one EV motor at the front that makes this car two-wheel drive, which is front-wheel drive only. The EV motor produces 150 kilowatts of power, 310 Newton meters of torque. Combined, the figure is not really mentioned on the Chery website. I would say somewhere around just under 200 kilowatts of power is reasonable, and combined Newton meters could be more than 500 Newton meters. So being a plug-in hybrid, half EV, half petrol, it's got plenty of power that you need. Remember, the EV driving range on this vehicle is 93 kilometers on NEDC, and probably falls under about 80 km or so on the WLTP range. But the vehicle does have a few modes that you can change. If you are in the new energy, you go to the power management, you can do one initial. So that's gonna basically use all your EV charges when you start driving. Another way is smart, so it's gonna save your EV driving or EV charge at about, let's say, 20% or 30% also, so that you get good amount of power when you go on city runs. The last one is forced. You can actually force the vehicle to maintain its EV charge at a certain percentage between 30 to 80. Now, there's no one behind us. We can get the vehicle into a sport mode and give it a go on the acceleration. 1, 2, 3. The vehicle itself shifts into, hybrid mode automatically and get the vehicle into moving. So the acceleration is fast. There's no issue and there's no doubt about that. I do not know the 0 to 100 timer, but I feel like it's going to be somewhere around high 5 to low 6 seconds around that. There's a little bit wheel spin if you do, drive it really fast when you start driving on the surface and things like that. But overall, it's a pleasant acceleration. It's quite graduate. Handling wise, it's not exceptionally well, but it's okay. The vehicle does come with 18-inch tires, so it's a little bit smaller than something you can find on a Jaecoo J7. Speaking of a Jaecoo J7, this vehicle does have many similarities compared to that Jaecoo. That means you probably will be competing with Jaecoo J7 when you look at the vehicle on the new car market. Now, one thing about the acceleration I should mention is just while you're putting your foot down, there is quite a good amount of power when the power starts to accelerate. But at the same time, the first initial touch, the vehicle always hesitates just by maybe half a second or less than half a second before the full power engages and things like that. And to be fair, you can feel that when you go through a giveaway signs, when you stop completely, or when you go through a roundabout, when you are giving way to something. So you're going to feel that when you start driving this sort of vehicle, by the way. Now, next thing, on the road at low speed, the vehicle feels really good riding. It's got McPherson struts at the front, multi-link suspension at the back. It's comfy, it does all the job really well. Occasionally it may be a little bit bouncy if you go to certain areas, but it's not too bad at all. The engine doesn't really produce too much of a noise, even if you're driving the vehicle under hybrid mode. And if you drive the vehicle into EV, just dead quiet. There's barely any sound. Now, here is the challenging area. We're driving on a sort of rough seal over here. It's not like everyday drive for your standard roads. You're going to hear a little bit more noise, and that's normal. It's reasonable, not too bad at all. And it's not too bouncy either. The vehicle suspension is, soft on certain levels, but it's okay. It's not too bad. Now we're still traveling on this road. I shall mention the brake response time on sport pedal. On the sport, it's very touchy. Whenever you put the foot down, just instant goes. There's just plenty of power behind the wheel, and it's always there. It's always ready for you. But as soon you change to a normal mode, it's more gentle approach, and you can go to eco mode as well. For some reason, this vehicle does not give you any announcement when you go into eco sport mode, unlike other Chery or Jaecoo or Moda vehicles. Not sure why, but it's just the way how it works. And I don't mind that, by the way. Now, acceleration is another way. I just did an acceleration around the gave way, and you can feel it. There's a little bit of hesitation for some reason. Just the nature of that performance, I reckon. I would say it just need a little bit improvement on that sort of particular area. Now let's get over here to see how this acceleration works just before we get on the motorway. See that hesitation, and then that kicks again. All right, we're here. 1, 2, 3. It's all right. It's pretty fast. There's no shortage of power for sure when you drive this vehicle in pretty much any surfaces and things like that. So that's a good thing about the Chery Tiggo 7. Now on the motorway, we're getting a bit wind noise. I think the vehicle's shape is quite boxy. You're going to hear that, but today is also a relatively windy day in some way. So bit wind noise here and there. Road noise is actually really good. It's not a bad tire brand, and the riding is very comfortable. I do enjoy the riding on the surfaces, and there's good amount of suspension adjustments when you go through bumps. So in comparison, I would actually rate these vehicles driving just a little bit better than the Jaecoo J7. I know the J7 is supposed to be a more expensive and more luxury sort of vehicle, and or maybe brand image compared to this. Only thing I think the Tiggo 7 would do for me, it's got enough space, it's got good amount of power, and also good amount of driving characteristics on it. I'm actually quite happy with it. Now another thing I should also mention is about the driving part on the steering response. The vehicle does have 2 modes. One is comfort, one is sport. If you choose to not link the driving mode, it will stay on whatever you selected. And I've selected this vehicle under sport. It's okay for me. I wish it gets a little bit more stiffer, but it's not too bad under sport. But under comfort, it struggles a little bit around the corners, and it's sometimes just simply too soft in many surfaces, and it's not the best feeling in terms of how it performs and things like that. So personally, I would set this vehicle in sport mode on the steering control any day and any time. And the comfort is just way too soft, and there's not enough steering around it. So that's my take on it. But in terms of handling, again, don't expect this car to handle really well around the country road and things like that. It's soft even under sport mode, but it does the job okay. If you're just doing the city runs, going to work and forth and things like that, you're not going to complain about this one's steering handling. Over here, let's do the last bit of acceleration and get it to go. All right, we can slow down just a little bit more. 1, 2, 3. Sorry, we were on eco mode. That was not a bad acceleration under eco mode. I do apologize. I accidentally switched to eco mode on this vehicle. Anyway, that's a good acceleration. I don't mind it at all. I think this represents a really good value for a plug-in hybrid and what a plug-in hybrid should be. Being an affordable plug-in hybrid, it doesn't drive too bad. It's got plenty of functions. It's got a nice interior, and honestly, the interior quality feels a lot better than some other vehicles you can find at the same price range. Anyway, that's my review and my take on the Chery Tiggo 7 Super Hybrid. If you enjoyed my content, please subscribe and like for similar content in the future. That's the best way to support this channel. As always, I will see you in the next video. Thank you very much.